And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Game Source, of course, everyone out there that knows Joe, aka Ox1947, is right there for you at LakersBall.com. Go ahead and check out what he's doing today. He's probably normally raging on something at playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, but he was in good spirits along with everybody else. So go ahead and check out what we're doing today at playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Of course, what Ox1947 does at LakersBall.com. And if you want your lawn transform into something much more magical than it is today, and you live in the SoCal area, let's go ahead and check out Simblades, Simblades with the Y.com. Plus, our good friends at Lakerholics.com. The guy right below me right here is the number one, absolutely numero uno Lakers blogger that's out there. That's LakerTom. Join him and Jamie Sweet with his 5 Things articles today at, of course, Lakerholics.com. Plus, our good friends of the Hoop Heads Podcast Network. And also, we're getting close to 500 subscribers. So if you can go ahead and like and subscribe, please, that's greatly appreciated as we strive on our way to go ahead and be at 500 subscribers on YouTube. Our good friend, Henry Hill, thanks so much for all you do for us as part of Courtside Lakers on Instagram, where we're going ahead live to over 5,000 subscribers right there for you on Instagram. That's at Courtside Lakers. Then you can go ahead and follow us, like us, support us any which way you can. Also, our good friends at Hoop Heads Podcast Network, and any way you can support us here at the Lakers Fast Break is sincerely appreciated. Well, LeBron, maybe needing some warm-up time before the All-Star game, decided to go ahead and play in tonight's game. And a good thing he did, we got a glimpse, a real big glimpse of what the Lakers could look like in the second half as we had all the pieces together. All the players that Rob has gotten together for the trades: Rui Hashimura, D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, and Mo Bamba finally were part of the lineup today. A starting lineup which consisted, I know that's been a great source of conversation over the past couple days, Dennis Schroeder coming off the bench, Malik Beasley, and D'Angelo Russell is now your new starting backcourt with Jared Vanderbilt out there at the forward alongside LeBron and AD, making LakerTom happy. Will it make us happy? Well, tonight, we sure were happy with the game tonight against the New Orleans Pelicans, a team who we want to get as close to as possible in the standings. And the Lakers, they went out to a 17-4 lead and never looked back. New Orleans Pelicans in the second quarter and third quarter kind of closed the gap. In fact, they closed it all the way down to 2, but the Lakers stretched out from there as the Lakers pulled away with one of their first and few easy wins of the season, 120-102. And it was actually not just all LeBron. It was not even all AD. It was actually a team effort tonight. Now, hopefully, everyone to get everybody together on this. 28 points, 10 rebounds for AD. LeBron James, only 21. It was D'Angelo Russell. It was Malik Beasley. It was Rui Hashimura. It was Mo Bamba. And it was Dennis Schroeder providing a great team effort. Jared Vanderbilt providing some energy, and really just a great all-around performance from the team as, again, the Lakers do win 120-102. And here today to talk about the game is, I've got 3 co-hosts this time, so I'm really happy for that. First man up, first man here. He is the number one Lakers blogger that's out there at Lakerholics.com. It is LakerTom. Great to have you here, Tom. And you are nothing but a happy man tonight. You got the lineup I think you wanted, and the results you wanted as well.
You know, it's so funny. Right when that was announced.
One paper towel and the window cleaner.
Go ahead. Sorry,
thought we had some instructions there.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I told my wife right after I saw the announcement of the starting lineups, I said, you know, since the bubble and the moves that Frank Vogel made in the finals, I haven't had my starting lineup play for the Lakers in the last 2.5 years, 2 2/3 years. So this was a pleasure for me. this was exactly everything that I thought they should do. You know, they put their 2 volume 3-point shooters in there, Beasley and D'Angelo Russell. That gave them enough spacing to take a gamble and put their best defender in there so they'd have at least a wing defender who could cover the guys like Brandon Ingram. And he was just terrific on Ingram all night long. The only thing that I wish that Darwin would do is just match people up and stagger your superstars and stagger your rim protectors. And if Ingram is going to be guarded by Vanderbilt, then keep him in the game when Ingram's there. Take him out when Ingram goes out. Have him shadow him the whole game, you know. Make this guy's life miserable. At any rate, you know, it'll be interesting to see what the backstory is because 2 days ago, Darvin Ham said, my starting backcourt for the foreseeable future is going to be, you know, Dennis Schroeder and D'Angelo Russell. Mm-hmm. And that created an uproar. I mean, I wrote an article about it. 3,550,000 other people probably wrote articles about it, saying, how could you, you know, it's a ridiculous move. It eliminates your abilities to put another shooter like Vanderbilt in the starting lineup. It also takes away a shooter. Schroeder is not a terrible 3-point shooter, but he doesn't know gravity out there. People are not going to cover him. They're going to go under the screen on him every single time and clog up the middle. So this announcement and change that Darvin Ham made, whether he made that on his own by rethinking the whole situation, saying, wait a minute, as much as I love Dennis, his best position for the team is really coming off the bench and replacing Russell. And that opens up the opportunity so that you've got Beasley in there with his 8 3-point attempts per game. You've got him in there along with D'Angelo with his 7 per game. So you've got the shooters that the front office went out and got, and you've got them in there. They're going to create gravity. They'll have to, just because the Lakers have been so bad, they're going to have to make their shots to make people believe them. But at least you got 2 guys who basically shoot close to 40%, and they shoot half as many threes as the Lakers have ever averaged in the entire game with all of their players. So we've finally got a starting lineup that looked good. Some rough spots here and there. Pretty good defense to allow only 102 points to the Pelicans. I think, aren't the Pelicans the number 1 offensive team in the league?
I think they're up there. They're up there.
That's a scoring team in the league, I think, and we held them to 102 points.
With Zion healthy, they are.
Yes.
Yeah. The other thing, too, is that if you look at the plus minuses, 5 players had double-digit plus minuses. Only 5 of them on the Lakers. Guess which 5? Starting lineup. Twitter's, you know, I mean, I've been battling on Twitter and on Lakerholics.com for the last 3 days, basically fighting this whole thing about, you know, oh, Dennis Schroeder is fine as our starting point guard, and it doesn't really matter, and all of these things. And we saw tonight how it really does matter. It makes a whole lot of difference. It makes LeBron's job a lot easier. It makes AD's job a lot easier. We saw Bamba come in there and make some good plays defensively. And we know that almost everybody on this team can shoot the 3. So this is a terrific sign. We couldn't have had a better going away party for the first 2/3 of the season. At least we can look forward to the second half of the last, was it 23 games, I guess now,
23
right?
games left.
We've got 23 games left, and I tell you, I feel a lot more confident knowing that, number one, Ham is playing the right players. They're coming through and playing well. LeBron and AD look like they're healthy and engaged. Let's just hope that nothing happens in the All-Star game, or nobody has an accident at home during, you know, the All-Star break, and we can come back. And these 23 games were 5 games under 500. So out of 23 games, what is that? You have to be 14-9, I guess. I think that works out to be 5 games, doesn't it?
14-9, that would get them to
500.
500.
Would get you to be 500. I think we can easily do 14-9. Can we do 17-6 or 16-7? Going to need something like that to get to like the 43, 44 wins, a little over 500. I'm thrilled not only because our coach now seems to be on the same wavelength as the front office, has the same wavelength as the fans and most of the experts who are watching what the team is doing and looking at the players that we acquired in the trade deadline. And I think you're going to find that there's a lot more optimism in the projections of what people think the Lakers could really do in the second half or the last third of the season. So, man, A+ for the game tonight, and A+ for how things look good for the Lakers. It's everything's coming up Lakers.
Once again, it's the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do win, pulling away 120-102. Also here today to talk about the great game that they played virtually throughout. Just a little bit of a slips here and there, but outside, really overall a outstanding performance. One of their best of the year. One of the few times Joe would say that we actually get to go ahead and have a route on our side. So it actually was very enjoyable to watch indeed. You should have been part of it at playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. We had a great time and some great conversations while the Lakers were winning throughout. But the guy who led that is the madman from Toronto. He just can't get out of Toronto traffic unless it's to watch the Lakers win a blowout. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice, the future host of Magic Man in the Morning. Magic Man, great to have you here, my friend. Your thoughts on the game? Obviously, that starting lineup from the get-go, as we talked about, they got off to that big lead. I know a lot of people are going to be infatuated now that the starting lineup, as we see it, is going to do big things. I think we saw the optimal success of that team and how it started out. I'm hoping they can sustain it, for the most of the rest of the way, because if AD and LeBron are healthy and in there and they have the right pieces fitting around them, the Lakers can get back to 500 and start talking about playoffs once again.
Oh, 100%, Gerald. I mean, look at the plus minus tonight. All 5 starters were a plus 10 or better. They also had 3 players off the bench who were in the positive as well. Troy Brown Jr., Dennis Schroeder, and Rui. And Austin Reeves was only a -1, and he played 22 minutes. I thought his defense was, once again, very good. You add in Mo Bamba. So that's 5 guys now off the bench that you could play, relatively speaking, that could give you solid effort. And there's not a whole lot of shooting off the bench, but I'm confident in Dennis Schroeder's ability to rally the guys and put the team in position to get the best shot available. I love the starting lineup. I love you and me talked about the other show, Gerald, and I think Tom echoed in as well. Putting Jared Vanderbilt on big guys like Brandon Ingram and possibly Kevin Durant, those guys are going to get their shots, but he could be a deterrent. And he really affected Brandon Ingram's efficiency from the elbow in, basically. He kept on his hip. He wouldn't let him get by him. And he really tried to be as big of a deterrent with his length and his body positioning as possible. The turnovers, only 10 turnovers. That's quite the cry from, a Russell Westbrook and Pat Bev game where you can at least add in another 7 between the two of them probably. So the Lakers are being efficient with the ball as well. They had 32 assists on 10 turnovers. That's probably their best assist to turnover ratio all year. Has to be. That's 3.2 to 1. 4 to 1 is considered elite. 3 to 1 is great. So that their ability to move was, again, very poignant. Gerald, and you had mentioned it. This is what a real offense looks like. Guys are moving. They're not standing around ball watching or running towards the rim when the ball goes up. So there was a flow, like Z was talking about. Shout out to Zingerstein. She mentioned it too. There was a flow to the offense. So if this is any indication, I really hope he doesn't go with a 31st starting lineup next game and he continues to chug along with these 5 guys until the wheels fall off, because they were all effective in their own way. And I'd like to point out that even though he's not in the starting lineup, Sam Quinn had mentioned a few days ago off a tweet that D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, Jared Vanderbilt, and Anthony Davis should be the starting 5 of the Lakers because they all complement one another. Now, if you want to switch out Reeves for Beasley because of shooting, I understand that. But I would say right now I would put Austin Reeves' defense ahead of Beasley's, but obviously Malik's the better shooter, so he's probably going to get the lion's share of minutes. But we have at least a really great 8-man rotation now. With those 5 starters, if you brought Rui, Troy Brown, and Schroeder off the bench, that would be a solid 8. Anything you get from Austin Reeves offensively and Mo Bamba offensively, I think is gravy, because I think Reeves' defense with that bench mob just creates, again, it's more synergistic than anything else. It's more about having players complement each other, right? That's that you hear that word a lot in football, but you don't hear it a lot in basketball. Complementary football. Well, this tonight was complementary basketball. Guys who could move, guys who could shoot, guys who could use their length defensively, other guys who could stay in front of people. You know, it's nice to have 2 guys on the floor now that can kind of stay in front of their man. Reeves and Vanderbilt can keep guys in front of them, and that helps immensely, especially when AD is at the bottom end of the baseline or under the rim. It's very, very important that you have at least 2 guys who can keep in front of their guy, because that's what it was like in 2020. You either had Caruso and KCP, or you had KCP and Kuzma, or a combination of 2 out of the 3, and all 3 of those guys were capable of keeping their man in front of them. If we added another one in the offseason, that'd be great. But so far, it's paying dividends. This is a great win. I was stoked about it, so I'm happy moving forward.
Once again, it's the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do win, pulling away 120-102 in a great performance overall. Also here today, he is Ox1947. You got to go ahead and check out everything unfiltered that he says for us at playback.tv/Lakers fast break. He was on it tonight and he was in a great mood. It is Joe Soro, the guy behind Simblades, simblades.com. Joe, you got to be pleased with the result. I know that you talked about it in a previous show about you don't like being so up and down, about one day, trying to be so happy about what the team is doing at Golden State. Then you see what happens at the egg they laid in Portland. But you got to be pleased now that they have all the pieces together for the first time since the trades all happened, that we can actually see what this team looks like going forward.
It was encouraging to see a starting lineup that we wanted to see, like LakerTom said. It was cohesiveness right out the gate, and Zengerstein was talking about how the pick and roll with LeBron and AD was a little more free flowing here, and a lot of it is that because D'Angelo Russell hit those first 2 open threes, and you got to worry about them now. It's just there's no other way. And as the chemistry builds, as the confidence in the team grows, LeBron and AD feels comfortable with those guys, we're going to get a chance to see what this team can be. I'm going to have to say, unfortunately, it's probably not going to be this year. I have somewhat already I know we need to still watch these guys play, but I think I've seen enough of D'Lo's game, Beasley's game, and Vanderbilt's game in general to know that these are the type of players that you want to build a title team with. The big 3 thing is likely done in my book, unless it's a freak situation where you drafted correctly, like Golden State did with Draymond, Clay, and Steph. But at this point, I think we need to start building depth and hopefully preparing for next year so that LeBron isn't averaging 36 minutes a game.
He played 29 tonight, just to give you an idea.
Which is what
That'd be nice every night.
That was the number, and that number always stuck with me because one of the greatest coaching years I ever watched was in 2014. Greg Popovich and how he coached that championship team. That was probably his best coaching. It might not have been it might have been his best team too. I know that sounds weird. You had Tim Duncan in his prime winning a few championships, but I actually think that might have been the best San Antonio team in the Greg Popovich, Tim Duncan era. And a lot of that was because Duncan played 29 minutes a game. He preserved them so well to the point where when they got to the end there, Dwayne Wade ran out of gas. LeBron got a cramp in his hamstring, and they were running circles. They were running a fundamental clinic that I hadn't seen in years. So the Lakers need to have that kind of mindset. Now, I'm going to say one more unfortunate thing. I know people don't want to hear that. I don't think we're going to do anything this year, and we're going to have to start thinking about next year. The next thing is, unfortunately, we did see not so good rotations again from Darvin Ham, which he's going to have to clean that up in the offseason. He's going to have to look at a lot of film during the offseason and really kind of figure out what the hell he's doing. Now, he did coach Russell Westbrook. He did coach Patrick Beverley most of this year, so you can kind of give him a little bit of slack, I guess. But he better get his act together this summer and make sure he has good rotations next year. And then, of course, at the end, guys, we still have to wait to see, are these guys going to make it a full season? However, with that, other than the free throw shooting, I mean, that's probably the only embarrassment to that tonight was their free throws. Everyone missed their free throws tonight. It almost felt like Steve Nash would have missed free throws on our team this year, tonight. And it was just this would have been a 30-point game had they just made one of two. These guys were missing both nonstop. So with that, they're going to get a little rest here. For those of you who think that Anthony Davis is an all-star, he's not. He's actually not an all-star this year. He's not even a reserve. So he's really going to be able to get some rest. LeBron, I hope, goes the Kobe route. I can't remember what year it was that he played literally, I think, 1 minute and he sat down, and that was it. I think LeBron needs to probably do that for the All-Star game and hopefully come in and try to see if they can make some noise in the last 23 games.
LakerTom, I want to ask you this. When you see how this team can play like they did with that 17-4 start, you see how the spacing of the floor really matters. I know a lot of people are still behind putting Reeves in that starting lineup because of his defense. And I say, yeah, that's great. But if he can't space the floor, then it just makes things a little bit harder because you just don't have enough floor spacers. 2 seems to be the magic number that helps LeBron and AD so tremendously out there, having 2 floor spacers out there.
Well, I think it's also the kind of floor spaces that you have. It's great to have 40% three-point shooters who take 3 or 4 shots a game, but they're not going to scare anybody because they're only going to make 1 or 2 shots. But if you got 2 guys who shoot close to 40% and they take 7 or 8 shots a game, and that's D'Angelo Russell and Malik Beasley, all of a sudden that's scary because those guys are going to take 15 shots. And if they make 7 or 8 a game, all of a sudden things have changed. Look at the 3 points. The Lakers are a team that averages 31 shots a game, 31 threes a game. We shot 37 threes. We're going to be shooting 7 to 10 more threes per game and making more as a result of this. And the more that happens, hopefully what we can do is we can take this lineup. And I think nobody was as hard on Darvin Ham as I was in the last few days. I mean, I've basically been merciless on the poor guy, saying basically that he ought to be fired if he doesn't change that lineup. But you know what? The guy changed the lineup. He made the right move. I'm sure he heard from the front office. I'm sure he heard all of the criticism. But he made the right move. And even though he's had tons of lineups, he's never had the whole lineup, the whole roster available. And now he finally does. So I don't think he's going to change much. I think what we can hope for is that, and maybe he'll prove me wrong on a couple things. Like I think I'd stagger the superstars if I was a coach. You know, LeBron or AD is going to be on that floor no matter what, 48 minutes a game. And I'd stagger AD and Bamba so that we have a rim protector in there. And I'd stagger the point guard so there's always a point guard in there. He seems to feel like, hey, this team is good enough and deep enough that I don't have to do that. I can go 2 minutes without LeBron and AD in there. I can go 2 minutes without a point guard in there because Reeves can handle it. We've only seen 2 games with these guys. We may see more games like the last one, or 3 games with these guys, and only 1 game with Mamba and the whole team there. So we've still got a lot of room to grow. And the one thing for sure is that we can't continue to play inconsistent like we've been playing. We got to roll off 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 games. I mean, I looked at these numbers here. 14-9 will get us to 500. That'll get us into the play-in tournament. 16-7 will probably get us 43-39. That'll probably get us in the number 7 or 8 spot in the play-in tournament. And if we go 18-5 or 17-6, we'll probably get the number 6 spot. So we're in good shape because this team is good enough to win that many of the games, to win 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 or 5 out of 6 of the games that we've got coming up. And we may not need, and we may never see MVP Anthony Davis, because all of a sudden we've got a lot of other weapons on the team. And that's good. I mean, I'd like to see us. I don't mind him playing a deep rotation. When we get to the playoffs, no problem. We can narrow it down to 8 guys, and and we can run those 8 guys down to the ground. But for now, and especially with the injuries that we have with LeBron and AD, I'd like to see them around 30 minutes. I'd like to see us play 10, 11, 12 guys. But I'd like to see us open and close halves with that starting lineup. That starting lineup is the key. It's got everything we need. It's got the firepower. It's got the 3-point gravity you get from volume 3-point shooters. And it's got a guy who can defend anybody in the league. I mean, I was watching Vanderbilt the entire game. I mean, he is so long and quick that it is hard to imagine how difficult it is for an offensive player to have a guy like that on him the entire game. I would never have if I was a coach, I would have said, you follow him right to the bench every time just to make sure. He doesn't go anywhere on the court that you don't go, because Vanderbilt can shut guys down. He can really be a force. I mean, we're not going to, the shots that Ingram made over Vanderbilt that were in the key. These are the kind of shots that KCP and Schroeder were defending previously. And what a difference to have a player like him guarding those things. And then a lot of times when we ended up with a switch, the poor offensive player ended up getting switched by Anthony Davis. So that lineup has got 2 elite defenders who can basically almost guard 1 to 5, and it's got 2 elite high-powered shooters, and it's got 2 elite superstars. You can't put together a better balanced lineup like that unless you had 5 two-way players.
And let's be honest. I think all 4 panelists here, and Gerald needs his flowers here. He basically called it from the start. He said Rui's a great bench player. He's not a starter. He's a very good bench player, and he could be a shot in the arm for you. And tonight's a perfect example.
Thank you, Burton, for subscribing. We truly appreciate it. One of the things I did want to ask you guys is about the newest arrival for the Los Angeles Lakers, and that is Mo Bamba. Mo Bamba had mixed results, obviously maybe some nerves as well, got into some early foul trouble. Didn't shoot well from behind the arc, but showed some things. Still, energy-wise, I think that's probably the biggest thing I see as far as him needing more of. If he had the energy anywhere near what Gabriel or Vanderbilt did, he would probably be a starter in the league. In fact, Orlando probably would not have let him go. But yeah, to his credit, though, when he's able to utilize his size, oh, there you go, some flowers right there for Joe after post Valentine's Day there for you. But I will say though that Mo Bamba mixed results, but if you can just steer him in the right direction and give him a platform for success to give you a contribution each and every time out, that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to seeing if we could develop Bamba not into a superstar player, not into even if we can actually get him to the point where he's a starter, Tom. I think we're golden if that's the case. That means he's consistent and he brings you something on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, he's a much better shooter than you saw. He's a 40% shooter this year, consistently, and he's got a beautiful stroke. But my God, 7'10" wingspan. That was an incredible block that he made. And him throwing the ball down and so forth. So it was good to see. I mean, all of the guys we traded for, the reason we were able to trade for them is because they have warts, they have flaws. They are not perfect players. They're not superstars. They were traded because their teams wanted to get rid of them and were willing to take draft capital for them. They didn't want any of the players we gave them because they cut all of those guys. They all already been all cut. Even Russ can't even seem to find a backup job somewhere. It's just such a great feeling to spend, it's always tough in the middle of the year, as far as I'm concerned, to take a break at the All-Star game. We're in the middle of the stretch run, and they want to take a break so that they can all go buddy and kissy and, had to have a nice little party, even to the point where LeBron would probably risk injury tonight just so that he could not look funny playing in the All-Star game after missing 2 games at the Lakers. So you got a week off, but I'm glad we won. I'm glad that we changed our lineup. Saved me from writing about 12 articles over the next week and probably having carpal tunnel syndrome and a lot of other problems just because of anxiety of Avery Bradley is dead. And Dennis Schroeder as the starting point guard is dead. So we can move on now, We know that was not a Laker disease that every new coach caught. That was incurable. It's not the zombie apocalypse. It's not, the best of Last of Us.
There you go. Great series. If everybody's watching it.
Oh, Bella Ramsey. What an actress.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Just a great show indeed. Joe, your thoughts though on Mo Bamba? I mean, again, you see the good and you see the bad. You see the reasons why Orlando traded him, but you also see the reasons that there could be some potential for him to, I guess, if he can get everything together consistently, to break out as a great thing for the Lakers going forward.
So Mo Bamba has a ceiling where you would need someone who could coach him to that next phase in his career. There are plenty of players out there that have started their careers not living up to their draft status that became integral parts of winning teams. Mo Bamba has that potential. He's long. He can block shots. You saw that tonight. I think he had 3 blocks, if I'm correct.
Yeah. I think he had 3.
Yeah. So,
and one of them was only point blank.
And then, of course, I don't think he made a 3 tonight, but he's pretty efficient there.
39% on the season.
Even though he doesn't take a lot of shots.
Yeah.
So you're going to need a coach that can tap into his potential and make it flourish. I don't know yet if Darvin Ham has that ability. I'm gonna have to see how that turns out.
Well, there was almost every coach on his staff, including Darvin Ham himself, were player development coaches. I mean, there's 3 or 4 of them on the staff who were all experts at that. So it's a very focused staff, I mean, so ironically, it makes sense that we went out and got a lot of young players because that's the kind of staff we have. They didn't even require that he, and I think this hurt Darwin a lot, that they didn't really require that he have a veteran. Usually, you want a previous veteran experienced coach first, sitting next to him as his first assistant. And that there's lots of times when that would have helped, just you don't realize until you actually go out and try to do something like coaching how difficult it is to watch the game and realize what's happening and strategize all of your moves at the same time. It's incredibly difficult. And in the pro leagues, you need to have assistants who basically individually have responsibilities to make sure that everything gets taken care of, that every rotation has the right combinations and so forth.
Don't you be tempting me with those C's candies there, Joe. You got to stop that, man.
Well, we're talking about flowers. We're talking about boxes of chocolates. Okay. So I thought it'd be only, fair to produce those.
Okay, fair enough. Once again, the Lakers do win.
Fair enough. What are you talking about, fair?
120-102. Well, I'm trying to segue over to Sean, goodness gracious, so that Sean can weigh in with his thoughts on Mo Bamba. Sean, I know you're going to probably elaborate on Mo Bamba when you do and when you start your morning show, but for us here at night, what are your thoughts after the game? I mean, again, it's just one game, as LakerTom would say.
Just one game.
One game.
Yeah.
But the early returns on Bamba are mixed, but you see the signs that if he just puts some things together, maybe he could be an answer to some of the Lakers' woes.
Yes, I think so, Gerald. I do. It's in there. A very good to great players in there somewhere. For some reason, and and I know that Bamba has received his fair share of criticism for why he was traded and why he didn't get consistent minutes. However, Draymond Green last year brought up a great point where he talked about, well, with all due respect, when it comes to calling a guy a bust or, maybe he hasn't developed properly, well, that it takes 2 to tango there. So as much as emphasis and critique you want to put on the player, you need to put on the organization as well for not helping that player develop the way either you saw them or the way they saw themselves. Now, there's a lot of onus on Bamba now to prove that, there is not wasted potential, that he is capable of more. And like you said, Gerald, the outlines are there. It's just when you watch him on the court, he's like a box of chocolates. Like the quote Forrest Gump, you never know what you're going to get with Mo Bamba on the court. He could pick up 2 fouls quickly in 3 minutes. Like Gerald was saying earlier, he could go 5 for 5 from 3 in the first 15 minutes he plays. He could play very effective on one possession, and the next possession you wonder what the hell he was doing. Right. I'm hoping, and I saw Zingerstein point this out as well, I'm hoping Phil Handy is able to work with him more so on a one-on-one basis, because that seems to be where his niche is as far as finding what a player's strengths are and then trying to accentuate it either through developmental skills and then transferring that into the game, or sitting them down and figuring out what makes them tick. Like, I love Bamba's intensity. He really a lot of his facial expressions remind me of those old C-Web from the Kings, where he just had that mean mug, like for 48 minutes. If Bamba can play with that kind of intensity all the time, I think the rest will take care of itself. But we're just going to have to be patient with him, Gerald, because it's like you said, he needs a lot of polishing. He really does. But he looks like he could be a very good player.
Once again, it's a Lakers fast break. The Lakers do win, pulling away 120-102 in a great performance, one of their best of the year, one of the easiest wins for the Lakers this year. And it really sends a sign that we can still have a chance going forward after the All-Star break. And Tom, I'm going to go back to you on this. With the Lakers, not only are these games important with the Pelicans, the fact that obviously because of the trade issues and whatnot, but also the play-ins as well. I mean, you talked about what the road is like for the Lakers and how well they have to play in order just to even get in the play-in. You see those teams that they have to jump over. There are 3 teams right now just to get into the play-in, with Oklahoma City, with Utah, and with Portland that they're currently battling out. It's not just the games. It's not just the fact that, with the different things that are going on as far as the different scenarios, if there's tiebreaker scenarios that they all work against the Lakers. It's just the fact that right now they have to win games, put them together, and get back to 500.
Yeah, it's silly to be looking at the standings right now and calculating who's going to be moved out and who they're going to pass up and what's going to happen, because there are just too many variables to do it. The only thing they can do is to control the one thing they can control, which is the game in front of them. They need to win. They need to win out. They need to win 23 games. That's how they need to go out right after they get off of their All-Star break. They need to go out and say, we're going to win 23 games in a row, period. And we're going to go into the playoffs undefeated. And if they go out and every game and do that, they'll finish 17-6 or 18-5 because they have the talent to do it. They have the right lineup to do it. I was just looking at the minutes played. It's interesting because the starters, they played starter minutes, 23 to 30 minutes, all 5 starters. Other than the starters, who played minutes? Well, it looks like there are 4 guys that played minutes. Hachimura played 16, Brown played 18, there were 5 guys. Bamba played 16, Schroeder played 20, and Reeves played 22. 3 guys, 1 guy didn't play, and 3 guys played 4 minutes, 3 minutes, and 3 minutes, including Walker, who's out of the rotation. It's a 10-man rotation. And what's good about that is, other than now that he's divided upon the right starting lineup, I don't care who he plays in his 10-man rotation because all 10 guys are good guys. And most of them blend together. I'd like to see, since we blocked 5 shots between our 2 centers, I'd like to see a rim protector on the floor 48 minutes a game. That makes such a difference for the defense. There's nothing that helps the perimeter defender as much as having a rim protector to erase that mistake when the guy gets to the rim. And the superstars, I'd like to see both superstars there. We don't have the Russell Westbrook thing to, like that third quasi superstar to throw the thing off. You only got 2 of them. I'd like to see them both one of them on the court all the time. I think that makes sense. And I'd like to see a point guard on the court all the time. Although when LeBron's on the court, they can do without a point guard, So this team has a lot of versatility. They can match up with a lot of different teams. It's going to be very interesting, and I think they're going to leave. This win puts them in a frame of mind where they can really focus. Now, hopefully, they've had the crap beat out of them so badly during the season that nobody's going to get overconfident based upon 1 game, right? And understanding that there's a lot of chemistry to build between the team. And God dang, I hope to hell they're going to have a few practices if they got a whole week off. I mean. Did the union allow that? Does the union allow them to practice, or do we have some crazy, non-rule that you can't,
I believe there can do at least workouts. I think they are allowed to do workouts. I don't know if they do a full-blown practice. I don't even know if the players want to do.
It's nice that all of these 3 guys. One of the things that was mentioned when they announced the starting lineup, that one of the reasons why they're doing this starting lineup is that those 3 guys played together in Minnesota.
Yes.
They got a history together. And that makes a big difference because it was almost like he took AD and LeBron and send them to Minnesota. There's your starting lineup. Let's take these three guys from Minnesota, put AD and LeBron together, and you got a new team. It could be the Minnesota Lakers.
Joe, any thoughts on that as far as what they can do during the time that's downtime? I think most will be obviously having their vacation, trying to rest up and heal up. But I know there's some things that the Lakers can work on. Maybe they can get together a day sooner than would normally be expected. Something that will allow this team to maybe gel a little bit faster and a little bit sooner. Because as you and I both know, during the course of the season, practices for the most part in this days and age are not something that's really relied upon. Most of the players out there don't even suit up for practice, especially the stars, because of fear of injury, et cetera, et cetera. So we usually don't get a chance to see the players practice together very much during the course of the season. But maybe now that it just, even if it's just one complete full practice together, that might be what they need to get them off to a good start in the second part of what we see for this season.
You're going to need a leader to organize this. Leader, the term leader can be interpreted in so many ways in this day and age. Ideally, my thoughts of a leader would be someone literally tonight coming in and going, guys, that was the last game of the first half or the first 2/3 of the season. And for those who aren't in the All-Star game, which is everyone but LeBron, let's practice this week. Let's not overexert ourselves. We know we've played 59 games already, but let's get some cohesiveness a little bit. And then maybe if LeBron isn't too busy putting imaginary crowns on his head during his break, maybe he's there to at least not be the odd man out when they get back, so that they can create some chemistry. Unfortunately, the pessimist in me here is not expecting that. I believe what's going to likely happen is they're all going to give the excuse that they want to go rest.
Just get healed. Just heal yourself and
let's heal ourselves. Let's rest AD.
Don't slip in the shower.
And at that point, they'll come back and give it their effort when they can. And it's just not very realistic anymore that guys are going to go the extra mile to train and get together on something that would be very important. I know Frank Vogel, someone was mentioning Frank Vogel's rotation issues and offensive ineptness. I will give Frank Vogel this, and I know a lot of it had to do with the fact that there was health in 2020. He had a set lineup. JaVale McGee had a role. Dwight Howard had a role. Obviously, AD and LeBron are going to do what they do. Danny Green was going to do what he did. But it was those other guys like Caruso, how to factor those guys in, how he used KCP, how he used Kuzma, how he used those guys in consistent spots to be effective. And then when Kuzma, let's say, wasn't hitting his open shots, I'm sure he told him, look, if you're not going to hit the open shots, it's okay. Just play really good defense, because we have Caruso out there. We have KCP out there. We have what should have been the defensive player of the year in AD. And LeBron plays defense when he has to. He had a really good defensive team at that point. So whether they're going to prepare for all this, my answer is no. They're going to rest. They're going to learn on the fly. And then at that point, we're going to have to hope that they have that mindset that they want to go 23-0. But I don't know. I haven't seen that kind of mentality yet. It'd be the first time this year if we do.
Once again, the Lakers do win 120-102. Sean, before we head on out, my friend, I want to hear your thoughts as we head into the All-Star break. Overall, it's been a season of disappointment. The Lakers are currently still in 13th place in the Western Conference, 2 games out of a play-in, 27-32, heading into the All-Star game break. Not exactly what we had signed up for, something which, again, even I, who had predicted the Lakers for the 10th place slot, that's even below my expectations. And to me now, with all that's gone on, I'm seeing some hope for this team. especially if they keep on, they can use this. And that's almost the bad part about this break is that they have such a great game. Will they be able to sustain that momentum coming out of the All-Star break in a week from now?
Yeah, Gerald, that's going to be interesting, right? Because you always once in a while there's a team that goes just on this crazy streak, right? And sometimes it's before the All-Star break, and there's often talk about,
That's going to
well,
be us, Sean. That's going to be us.
if you can recapture that that lightning in a bottle. And yeah, lightning does strike twice in the same spot, thousands of times. But in sports, not so much. In sports, like Tom was saying earlier, man, there are so many variables. Who's playing? What kind of pressure are both teams under? What kind of injuries are at play? Who gets hurt during the game? There's a controversial call that changes the momentum of the game within the game. So, Gerald, I'm with you. I think I was a little bit more optimistic. I thought we'd finish 9th or 8th. Gerald went with 10th, but
I was probably 4th or 3rd or 2nd.
Yeah, we were all in the same boat, basically.
No, I picked the Clippers first. I'm going to say it. I said if they don't win this year, they're never going to win. Because on paper, they had a talented enough team to win. But you know what? I'm glad that they are where they're at. And it looks like Phoenix is going to be a favorite out of the West right now. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens.
Well, listen, here's some good news on the standings. I'm just looking at the standings. And here's an interesting fact. We're number 13, right? Number 12, number 11, number 10, number 9, number 8, and number 7 are all on losing streaks.
Again,
every single team between us and number 6 is
on losing. We'll see what happens.
Well,
hold on.
Dallas has lost 3. New Orleans lost 1. Golden State's lost 1. OKC's won 1. Excuse me. There's 1 winning streak. Utah's lost 1. Portland's lost 1.
Tom, you got to also remember, but that's if they were normally playing during the season, game after game, game every 2 days, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. There's a break, and you know how teams come out sometimes a little bit lax coming out of the break. Teams have a tendency to still be on vacation mode, et cetera.
We just gotta win 23 games, man. We win 23 games, I guarantee you, we're in the playoffs.
There you go, bold statement right there.
50 wins.
Yeah,
that's good. 50 and 32 is a good number.
Yeah, but
I fully expect them to do that. By the way,
Joe and I predicted as far as during the regular.
How many wins do we have, Joe?
27.
27? Yes. And 27 and 23 is how many?
50.
Wow.
So they'd be 50 and 32. The same record in 2003 when they were an Ori in and out away from beating the Spurs in Game 5, possibly going on a 4-peat.
Will we be able to carry the record over to see if we could compete for the 33-win record if we win the first 10 of next year?
I don't think they carry off-season because I still say to this day the winning streak in the regular season in 2001 and then the record in the playoffs and then the first 17 games in the 2001, 2020, 2002 season. They went 39-2.
Yeah.
39-2.
Well, I'll take 23-0. 23-0 is throughout, man.
And they don't recognize that because it was a playoff. And I feel like I'm the only one that knows that stat. I don't know why no one talks about it. The Lakers for 10 months, granted, most of that was the offseason, for 10 months, lost 2 meaningful games. I want you guys to really
but for 8 months they lost no games.
Okay,
they didn't win anything in July, August, and September and October, right?
Here's where the rubber meets the road with this team, okay? Because I just did some quick research. You beat the Pelicans tonight. You play them one more time. If you win that game, you win the season series. You played the Oklahoma City Thunder 2 more times. You beat them both those times, you win the season series with them. You play the Minnesota Timberwolves 2 more times. They already got us once. You beat them twice. You got the tiebreaker with them. And you play the Warriors, the first game out of the All-Star break. So you know what? We ended the All-Star game break on a almost a 20-point win, Gerald.
Yes.
I think they need to come out and win a 20-point game against the Warriors. Set a tone. Because
16 of our 23 games are against teams ahead of us in the standings.
You beat the Warriors. Psychologically, it's a little different because you actually tie the season series. They beat you twice, but you got them twice.
Right. But who won the last one?
I also want to mention that Joe and I, as far as Denver success, we predicted that, that they would actually during the regular season would end up leading the way, and they have so far, Joe. But as you and I both are seeing, I think we see signs that team, and this is the reason why I don't think you and I pick. I don't know. You didn't pick Denver for the finals, did you? I didn't pick.
I picked Denver to be the first seed, and I think I might have picked them to represent.
Okay, because I picked them as the first seed, but I picked them to get bounced because I don't.
We picked them in the summer too. I didn't even pick them in the regular season. That was something that I thought if
they don't have good enough defense.
If Jamal Murray was healthy, that they were going to be a force. And what's weird about that team is, especially considering where we are in the standings, and if we happen to make a little run here to get in the playoffs,
they could be.
Denver has no idea how to stop us when we're healthy. And that was with Russell Westbrook and Pat Bev. So being that things are as wide open in the NBA, it seems, as they are, there's a lot of optimism there if somebody gets in. But I have yet to see anyone other than the Houston Rockets in '95 come from the bottom of that bracket and actually play really, really well.
Yeah. But
it's just hard.
The parity that we're suffering right now, though, is really unprecedented. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if everybody expects something, just like Sean was saying, some team's going to go on a blowout streak and set everybody back, and all of a sudden, order will take place.
We already got it last year.
It will.
We already got it last year with Phoenix. It already started.
Also got to go ahead and understand in the Western Conference, those three teams that are directly above us in the standings, Utah, Portland, and Oklahoma City, will one, two, or all of them will any of them or all of them embrace tanking mode? Yeah. That's the question. Will they have the edict coming out of the All-Star break from higher above in their front offices to go ahead and start?
Well, there are four teams. They're the two tolerable teams in each league that don't have 10 wins. So those four teams have got those are the four teams that get the best odds. I think they get like 13% chance of the odds, 52% between those four teams. So that means that the teams that are like 20 games and 24 games and 26 games and 22 and 23, all of those teams are going to be in line for top 10 picks.
Well, the thing is, right now, before tonight's game, the Lakers were seventh,
right,
as far as the lottery chances. If that can be swapped out, and the Lakers move higher up in the standings, and some of these teams moves down, that gives those teams like maybe Oklahoma City or maybe Utah an idea that maybe if we just go on a losing streak, a little bit of a losing streak, and get to where the Lakers were at, that gives us a top 7 chance, Sean, to go ahead and go after Victor Wembanyama. And that's a chance that they can have as far as getting that number 1 pick.
Yeah, Gerald, they're different kinds of characteristics to give to certain players. Victor Wembanyama is what you call one of a kind.
Yes, he is.
There's not another Victor Wembanyama waiting in the wings. There's only one. So if you have an opportunity to try and select him, ladies and gentlemen, the Podfather was correct. You take that opportunity and run with it. So I'm with Gerald. I expect at least 1 or 2 Western Conference teams right now who are muddying the waters there to just decide, yeah, we're just gonna parachute out and try and lose as much as possible, because
You could be Cleveland and get the right
well,
draft with LeBron James.
it may come a time where they say, oh well, just out of the blue, Shy has a plantar fasciitis flare up again, and we're gonna have to keep him out for a couple weeks. I could definitely see something like that happening. I don't think Portland will tank. Damian Lillard's not built like that, and even if he got a whiff of it, I think it would completely turn him off. And like, he's very loyal to that franchise, so I wouldn't expect them to punk him and say, "Oh yeah, well we want to lose as many games as possible so we can get this kid." I'd love to be a fly on the wall when you had that conversation with him. One of those other teams, New Orleans, Golden State, they're going to have to make a decision too, because both your studs are gone for a few more weeks. Now, which one would make a move here? What's more likely? It's probably Golden State, because you can always save Steph for next year. New Orleans is a different story. You're trying to build something with Zion around this team, but he can't stay healthy. And the most games he's going to be able to play this year is half the season, because he's only played in 29 games so far. So it's tenuous right now, man. Like you said, Gerald, there are certain teams in the mush that shouldn't be there. They should be trying to hang out with Houston and San Antonio. Instead, they're deluding themselves and thinking that if they get the play-in, it'll stir up local ticket drives, or some local momentum as far as regional coverage, what have you. No, that's not the way this game works. If you could get the one of a kind, you get the one of a kind. The garbage man who wins the lottery doesn't throw the ticket in the dumpster. That's a quote by Ari Gold, and it's as true today as it was when he spoke it.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. The Lakers do win 120-102. Guys, it's been a great time. We're happy. We're psyched about what happens after the All-Star break. We're going to, you guys don't get a vacation from us, that's for sure, because we're going to provide some great content over the next few days and over next week as well. I'm sure we've got
Kevin Love is finalizing a buyout.
Yeah, we talked about that in the chat. I don't think he's going to the Lakers. I think people need to go ahead and maybe calm down on that. I think he's going to go to a contender, which is strange that Cleveland, would still let him go, knowing that they're a contender. Obviously, something happened there as far as him.
Maybe he told them he's going to the Lakers, and that's why they let him go.
Maybe. I don't know what really he can give you at this point.
Well, the only position we need anybody is a center.
Yeah,
great rebounder, outlet passer.
We could use an upgrade on the shooting guard position, and that's about that. But again, it's the Lakers Fast Break.
Shooting guards. We got the guy.
I mean, regardless. All right. I see you, Joe. But before we head on out, guys, I want you to go ahead and then share some thoughts on what the Lakers, hopefully can go ahead and work on coming out of the All-Star break. And then obviously, how disappointing was for you now, and what kind of hopes you have for the next 23 games going forward. Sean, I'll start with you.
Sorry, Gerald, I was on mute. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, just saying, what kind of hopes do you have for the Lakers in the next 23 games?
Yeah, you know what, Gerald? I'm hoping that, like you said, man, it starts with small goals, right? That we have squad goals and small goals. So one of the squad goals right now is to get to 500. Get to 500. Once you get to 500, then you can kind of pull over on the side of the road, see the way traffic's moving, and figure out where you need to go next. So they just need a sense of positivity and moving things in the right direction. like I said, I think it would be prudent and it would behoove them greatly to come out of the All-Star game and just punch Golden State right in the face, and set a tone for the next 23 games in the next 40 days, because we're going to need to buckle up here. It's been a bumpy ride so far, but an old dirt road could still get you home. You don't need a highway. So it looks like we're going to try and take the dirt road home. I think they could do it, man. I like as much as I said what I said a few days ago. I still think the trade was a success. Time is an issue, but they've got the games in front of them to get it done. Fingers crossed, baby. Fingers crossed. Go Lakers.
Tom, any last thoughts on the final 23 games before we head on out?
I think it's even more than just the final 23 games. I think what the Lakers accomplished at the trade deadline has me confident about next year. And the moves that I saw being made by Darvin Ham, adjusting his lineup, and the players that he played and the rotations that he had tonight give me a lot of confidence. I'm right there with John. I think we have to be realistic. A lot will depend on just where the top 6 teams end up. I think it's going to be tough to make. I think that our best chance is to make the 7 or 8 seed in the play-in tournament, so that we only have to play one play-in game. I think it's going to be very difficult to get to the number 6 seed, because I think other teams are going to start winning. We're not going to be the only team that's going to, we're going to break up 5 or 6 teams that are all at 29 or 30 wins. It's going to break up. And I think the Lakers are going to be in maybe the 7 or 8 seed, and I think I'll be happy with that. I think the main thing is win. I want to win all 23 games. I want to be in every game. I want to see the team really have a lot of these games like tonight where they win by 20, where all of a sudden people start thinking that, man, this team is going to be a juggernaut by the time they get to the playoffs. They're going to be a team that nobody wants to face coming off of the play-in tournament. I mean, who's going to be number 1 in the West? Do you think it's going to be the Suns? The Suns are not going to want to play the Lakers in the first round. I'll tell you that. And if they're 1 and 2 and the Lakers are 7 and 8, good luck.
Joe, any final thoughts on the 23 games before we head on out, my friend?
If they had lost tonight, you could have opened up the sewer line for sure. They kept it closed for at least one more game. They have no more excuses, really, after a week and a half of rest. They're going to play Golden State at home. Even when Golden State was good and healthy, they seem to always play those guys well. You beat them at home, you need to beat them in your building. If you win that game, you get 2 more days off after that before you play, I believe, Oklahoma City, if I'm correct.
Yep.
So
Dallas.
Dallas. Okay. So Dallas is reeling right now. It's kind of baffling to me how terribly run that organization is since Mark Cuban decided to become a Shark Tank guy and all that stuff. I've been trying to tell everyone that Mark Cuban is successful in life and it does cool things, but running a business like this business takes your full attention. And when it's already hard when you do have full attention. So Dallas is likely not going to solve any of the major problems they had, which was playing good defense and having a team that can cohesively play consistent day in and day out. They're too top heavy, and now they're even more top heavy with another ball handling scorer that doesn't play defense. So between Oklahoma City, Portland, and Dallas, these are the 3 teams you're probably going to have to out-duel towards the end. And the Lakers are going to have to get on a winning streak of 4 or 5 very quickly here to make up the 2 games that they're behind for the 10th seed. If they can win 5 in a row, that becomes a very, very big reality that they can start sneaking into that game, the play-in. And then after that, they can get another loss, but they got to win another 3 or 4 in a row. So essentially, they got to win 4 games for every one to finish.
If they go 80%, they'll have 17-6.
But in the end, I think we're seeing something that's been unprecedented in the NBA, at least since I've been watching basketball. I'm not going to go by the 70s. And even when you look at the 70s appearances of teams, you look at the Knicks and the Lakers, you look at Milwaukee and
Boston
and Washington at the time. I'm naming the final.
Okay.
I'm naming the finals participants during the 70s when they said that was the most parity there was in the NBA was the 70s because you didn't have any repeat champions. But if you look at the teams, 70 was Lakers, Knicks. Lakers were always there, right? The Knicks with the 3 finals in 4 years. So it was the Knicks and Lakers. It was the Milwaukee Bucks and the Washington Bullets. Then you had the Lakers and Knicks again, and then the Lakers and Knicks again, and then Boston and Milwaukee. Then you had Golden State and who they play in 75?
Washington, I think.
Washington, yeah. 76, you had Boston and Phoenix. 77, you had Portland beat the Sixers after being down 0-2. 78 and 79 were Washington and the Sonics. So you had still some consistency. With this one, with this era, we're looking at what could be the beginning of what could be a baseball result in the playoffs, where even a 1 seed is not immune to busting out in a bad way right off the bat. Phoenix showed that last year. So, but the Lakers have to create some kind of out of this world chemistry within the next 23 games, and they have to be healthy and focused. We do this every time they win, guys, and I'm trying not to no, I'm not doing that. I need to see a winning streak of 4 or 5 right now.
I agree.
Then I'll tell you what's going on.
23. I want nothing less than 23.
I agree. I want 23 and 0. I want 50 wins this year. I want 50 wins this year. Let's do it.
Let's do it indeed. Once again, the Lakers do win 120-102. It's been great having everyone here. Got some great people in the chat room tonight. The best Lakers chat room that's out there is right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Again, we will be providing content throughout the All-Star break, so you will not feel lonely. We will be here for you. We will be here to go ahead and talk the NBA, talk the Lakers. Already got a couple things in the can. Hopefully we'll be able to distribute out next week as far as for the channel. So that make sure that go ahead and check us out constantly right here at the Lakers Fast Break. If you've not liked and subscribed to us already, please do so right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Sean, I wanted to go ahead and make sure that we talk about, at least when you come up in our NBA observations, about this Dallas Mavericks situation that Joe was alluding to a little bit before on his closing statements in regards to the Luka Kyrie love fest, which is not working so well so far after just a few games.
Not at all, Gerald. And so far, I'm eating crow over that. I actually thought that this would play out more advantageously for them in the playoffs. But you have to make the playoffs in order for that to work out. The way they're reeling right now, they could possibly be in a play-in opportunity themselves, Gerald. I mean, you said it. Teams are going to take advantage of them now that they're small.
Yep. We've seen that already with the Lakers, what happens when you go small consistently over time. You can't rebound. That starting lineup is really, really minuscule compared to other teams. And they get killed on the boards and they can't even play defense.
It is. And that's another, I remember Reggie Bullock played for the Lakers. I also remember Reggie Bullock played certain decent defense.
I saw Muscala last night when you're playing in Milwaukee, and he played infinitely better than he played for the Lakers. What's up with that?
It's amazing how that works, isn't it?
Yeah.
All these great role players somehow go ahead, sir.
You're on mute, Joe. Be great. We could hear what you say, but you're on mute.
I'm going to let Sean finish, and I want to give another stat that's going to be important to understand how the NBA.
Yeah. So, especially tonight, Gerald, with the length and the lack of I'm gonna call it sandpaper. That's a term that gets thrown around a lot. It just means toughness. It's just another word for, and you need guys on your team with some sandpaper. They can get dirty and grimy and gritty. Dallas really doesn't have that. They're more finesse. We're going to beat you 145, 128. We're just going to try and outscore you now, Gerald. And, as we know, Gerald, if you want to win an NBA championship, you win that first 4, the next 4 get harder.
Yep.
And then you got to win 8 more. And if you want to win 8 more, you're probably facing a top 5 defense, top 10 defense, and you're going to need to play excellent defense yourself in order to put yourself in a position to get to the finals. And then it takes 4 more wins after that. Like you said, man, and I'm eating crow right now. I thought that this would be a move for the playoffs, but again, you have to get to the playoffs in order for that to make a difference. Again, Luka's name is in the MVP race. I think, for some reason, like a lot of other young dudes, and whatever, I get it. You're young, you're invincible. You think you could do it all. Well, I could show up to camp 12 pounds overweight. I'll just lose the 20 pounds in the next 8-9 weeks. But guys who come into this season already diesel, like Jason Tatum and Jokic, they're not thinking. They're just not thinking about MVPs. They're thinking about the rings.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Mavs have that mentality yet as a team, Gerald.
No.
And I think you've pointed that out too. It's more about, let's look good and let's be cool while we're doing it. But it's the maturation just isn't there yet with Luka, and you add Kyrie to the mix, and that's a whole nother kind of. It's volatile, man. It's volatile. Like we already saw what happened once when the wrong point guard got traded to Dallas under Mark Cuban's tenure.
Yeah, we saw
that. So if that was any indication of what's to come, get ready because there's going to be a whole lot of popcorn sold.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. Before we head on out, guys, I want to go ahead and ask you something that got to be the shoes. One of those guys who still wants to trade everybody. LeBron, he's asking for a trade for LeBron for Jaylen Brown. He's trade AD. He's almost training as much as LakerTom does during the course of a season. But he did ask a good question. I want to ask this before we head on out. What is your favorite Lakers uniform? I mentioned to him, I love the standard gold and purple, the home. Well, it was at the time, the standard home uniforms back in the day with the Black Mamba uniforms that they wore during the course of the bubble. A very close second. Tom, I'm going to start with you. What is your favorite
Mamba
Laker uniform? Which one?
Mamba uniforms.
The powder blue?
No, the Mamba uniforms.
The Mamba uniforms? Yeah, excellent choice. Excellent choice. Joe, what are your favorite? Same. Yeah, same. And then Sean, MagicMan. The purple and gold is always underrated, but that's kind of standard, I think, over the course of the years. When it's still very good, love it, no less. But what is your favorite Lakers?
You know what, Gerald? I have to say I got to go with the Jerry West, Elgin Baylor Forum Blue from the '60s. It is really shorts? Nice. What's that?
Short shorts, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, well, not the shorts, but the that's a beautiful blue, and I've always enjoyed it. I loved how the outside stripes are. You've got the light blue. You've got the. Is it more? What would you call that? Like a royal blue?
Forum blue, man.
Yeah,
Forum
forum
blue,
blue,
yes.
and then the white. It's very nice. It's very nice. I will say I do like the they didn't wear them a lot, but I remember during the 08 season, the Lakers wore their old Hardwood Classics Showtime uniforms, and they looked really good on Kobe, Powell, and Lamar. So I would say those throwback Hardwood Classics would probably be number 2.
Well, I will say before we head on out that you can never underestimate the old purple and gold, and obviously a lot of great uniforms in the past. I was thinking with LakerTom it'd be the UCLA colors, the white with
Water
the
blue.
yeah.
Those look like North Carolina uniforms, not
They
UCLA.
look more like UCLA.
Yeah.
No, they look more like the UCLA colors. The ones I'm talking about with the white with the
Yeah, I know. The Mamba jerseys are by far the best.
But I will say, though, it's been great having everyone here. Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. Carson, when we talk about the OKC Thunder, it sounds like you're an OKC Thunder fan, and great to have you here, by the way. We truly appreciate you being part of the chat. It's just the fact that, yes, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, tremendous player, superstar. If he's not already, he is very close to it. It's just what time frame and what timeline does the front office want to be on? I mean, if the Oklahoma City Thunder have a bad week at all in the next, coming out of the break, will they say, let's just go ahead and pump the brakes and go after Victor, because that could be a key to their success? Plus, also Chet Holmgren is still waiting in the wings. So, yeah, your future is brighter than almost, virtually all the teams in the NBA with all the picks.
I'd offer 10 draft picks for Wembanyama.
Yeah, I mean, 10 draft picks for
see somebody
Wembanyama.
turn down 10 first-round picks for the number 1 pick in the draft.
Well, New Orleans could probably do the same. Brooklyn could almost do the
More
same.
the merrier. Let's
Yeah.
set a record.
Yep, absolutely.
That's what I'd do if I had 19 or 15 first-round picks in my repertoire. That's exactly what I would do coming up this draft. You would see the biggest offers that you've ever seen.
John, I was saying with the UCLA, it's like it looks similar to it. I understand there's variances in it, but it looks similar to it. But Joe, any thoughts on them before we head on out?
There's an interesting stat that I noticed in this season when we're talking about parity. So in the West, we've talked about the West being pretty open, right? After Memphis at the 2 seed, the point differential is 2.3 and below.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about the Clippers and Minnesota, who hold the 5 and the 6, have a 0.2, not 2, 0.2 point differential throughout 2/3 of the season.
Yeah. I mean, for 60 games and only being a minus 1.4, that's not terrible.
I mean, these guys. So we've been sitting and talking about all these games and how they're all wire to wire. It's not just the Lakers; it's the entire NBA. There is no clear-cut winner right now. In the East, there's a little bit of a division between Boston, Milwaukee. To some degree, they're only a 3.1 point differential. Boston's at 6.2, which is somewhat good. Heck, even Cleveland at the 4 seed has a 5.7. So we're looking at something that we could start seeing a lot of in the future here, especially if there's a hard cap implemented in the NBA. Get ready to watch Major League Baseball playoff scenarios in the NBA if that happens. And all these draft picks, by the way, just for those of you who are out there, the draft picks, you're going to start seeing draft picks not become a huge asset anymore. I'm going to tell you that right now, because there's no point. If you have 5 picks and you hit on every one of them, you're not going to be able to afford to pay to sign them. You're going to be Oklahoma City in 2012. You got cheap at the worst time. If you sign Harden to a max deal after they lost the finals to the Heat in 12, it's very, very, very likely that team would have won a championship in the next year or two. So that's what we have. That's what we have to look forward to. There's a chance that parity will finally arrive in the NBA. We're going to find out a little bit of that this year.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone being out there watching and listening to us. Guys, it's been a great show. The Lakers look very, very good as far as heading into the All-Star break with one of their best performances of the year, and I know everybody's excited for that. Looking forward to providing continual great content as only we can provide, and the best chat room that's out there right there at the Lakers Fast Break, so we truly appreciate it. We're cooking up all sorts of great things for you right here at the Lakers Fast Break. I'm already trying to put some things in the can. I'm going to also try and reach out to some more great interviews I've got lined up, including, Tom doesn't know this, but I'm probably going to get him in on a one-on-one conversation too, just to make sure we have some great content sometime during the vacation, sometime during the All-Star break, just to make sure and check in with LakerTom that everything's okay with Lakerholics.com. So go ahead and support him at Lakerholics.com. Go ahead and support Joe at LakersBall.com. And go ahead, if you are in the Southern California area, please go ahead and support him today at Simblades with a Y.com. Petting my cat, the captain of hashtag Team Replay. No worries, PMC. We're just glad to have you here and part of what we do. Shout out to John McCallion, Zangerstein, Terrence, Danny. There you go. Lakers. There you go. Absolutely. Salami, Jeff. So many great names. Got to be the shoes. Got to be the shoes. Always great to have you. Johnny 2K6. So many great names that were part of today's chat. It's truly appreciative of everything that you guys do, the time that you take out of your day to go ahead and check us out. What is it? How do you lose it? 15-point lead. So, okay, I truly appreciate everyone being a part of what we do. It is the Lakers Fast Break. Once again, stay tuned to us. Like and subscribe so you get the latest notifications of when we go live on the air, because we do have stuff for you planned as far as shows in the tank. Lakers History 101. Who knows? We might even have another game. There you go. Another quiz show coming up. Yeah. We're going to do another quiz show. That's got lined up for you as well. Joe, any thoughts to when you might be doing the wings? Because we haven't forgotten about the wings.
Yes, the plan is, again, to do it before the season's over. So between now and I would say first week of April. So stay tuned. Within the next 6 to 7 weeks, I found a Buffalo Wild Wings that would be a little easier to do a challenge there without too much noise, to where I could possibly set up a tripod, a mini tripod, and be able to broadcast remotely on my phone.
What dedication. I'm
going to be in pain for this one. This one will be pain. The one chip challenge was tempered a little bit with my milkshake, which that was the plan. I didn't have time to get all sick for a week. I'm not going to do that. Was never going to do that. It was more going to be the You want to do that, John? You want to go to one in Santee? We'll talk about that in a minute or later. But yeah, the plan obviously this is going to happen, guys. It's just a matter of putting it together at the right time, and so that we could at least broadcast it with some production value and let everybody have a good time.
And also some MagicMan in the morning. That will be coming up after the All-Star break. I just want to give him some time in the command chair to go ahead and make sure he's okay with running the show by himself. Oh my gosh, the Lakers Fast Break channel being run by MagicMan. Who knows what will happen? We'll see. It is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you being part of what we do here, and keep in touch with what we do. You know what? The NBA might be taking a vacation, but we're not. We're going to present to you a lot of great things. We're even thinking about a playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break All-Star Watch Party. So we'll see. But we got a lot of things in the pipeline headed for you in the coming days. We're not taking a break, even though the NBA is. We're here for you right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Have a great evening, everyone, and stay safe.